What happens if you combine Supermarket Simulator and Repo? I thought about it and decided to create my dream game. While Unity was loading, I already imagined a rich life, fame, only a little bit left to go. So the project loaded, but what should I do now? First, I needed to choose a genre. What kind of game is the dream game? An endless sandbox, where you can create anything? A competitive game, where you must think and trust your team? Or maybe, a simulator of running through toxic swamps. Repo is a co-op horror. 4 players explore scary places, search for artifacts, and try to survive. The main thing is teamwork and fun. I wanted to catch this hype wave. Also, I was curious because I never made an online game before. So after thinking, I chose the genre, co-op horror. But I didn't know what this choice would bring me later. Supermarket Simulator. This is a game where you run your own store. You buy products, place them on the shelves, and work at the checkout. The game is simple but very addictive. Players can feel like real shop owners, keeping track of stock, reacting to customer demands, setting prices, and even decorating the store. I chose this game as a contrast. After horror and dark dungeons, players can relax in a cozy little shop. The change of atmosphere is very important. Here you won't find monsters or danger. Instead, you get a warm, almost calming mood, where every sold candy bar feels satisfying. When it came to the game's setting, I didn't have to think for long. I chose something very common and simple: the Middle Ages and magic. This is how the Magic Shop Simulator was created. Wandmart. Wizards go into dungeons, fight monsters, and bring back artifacts. And of course, they sell them in their shop. Now, only the easy part is left. Write millions of lines of code, create hundreds of models, fix endless bugs. In short, just the little things. The work began with creating the player character in Blender. The goal was to make something fun, but also simple to model and animate. The idea was straightforward. Take the standard cube and give it arms and legs. Bones were added for animation, and the character was moved into Unity with several basic animations. In Photoshop, different facial expressions were drawn. As a result, these became the player's characters. But this was only a 3D model. The next step was to bring it to life, add basic server logic, and make a real player appear in the game. Since the project was planned as multiplayer, the network part had to be done right away. For this, Unity netcode for game objects was used. Steam Transport was added as well. It allows creating rooms through Steam and inviting friends there. And then came a classic problem for a solo developer: only one computer. Testing how several players work together was not so easy. How do you check multiplayer if you can control only one character? The solution was multiplayer play mode. This technology lets you run several game windows at the same time, and each one counts as a separate player. That way, it was possible to simulate up to 4 people and make sure the multiplayer logic worked correctly. After working on the server part, it was finally possible to connect 2 wizards into the same game. This was the first real step toward the feeling of multiplayer. Basic character movement was added, because without it, nothing else works. Players also got the ability to pick up items and interact with the world. Small chests were introduced as well. For now, they are only placeholders, but later they will play an important role in progression and gameplay. I also added the ability to place objects. Now the player can arrange furniture in the shop and decorate it any way they like. This building system gives more freedom and personalization. Every shop can look unique. Such mechanics have been popular in games for a long time, and here they fit perfectly into the cozy atmosphere of a magic supermarket. By the way, do you see the magic wands? Do you know what they do? For now, nothing. Something had to be done about this. So the idea of magic schools appeared: water, fire, darkness, nature, and earth. Each school has its own set of spells, and each one interacts with the world in a different way. So a spell selection window was added along with the very first spell, Fireball. Yeah, not the most original choice. A magic wand casting a fireball. Shocking, right? I'm not too creative with spells, but you can be. Got an idea for a spell? Write it in the comments or share it in Discord. Maybe your idea will make it into the game. When the item placement system and the first spells were ready, it was time for the most important thing: the very first sale. Let's see how it works. This is mana, the main currency of the game. It's used to upgrade the shop, buy useful items, learn new spells, and cast powerful magic. Basically like money in real life. Without it, things get pretty sad. And how do you earn mana? Simple. Go into a dark dungeon, find an ancient artifact, and sell it. Sounds epic, but for now, there are no dungeons and no artifacts. So let's start small, by selling a broom. We've got plenty of those. First, place a magic display stand. That's where items for sale go. Stands can be small, medium, or large. so you can pick the one you like. Then, put the item on it. But what about customers? To summon them, you need to light the braziers with a fireball. That opens a portal, and clients start coming through. Here's one now. A lovely customer picked up a broom and headed to the checkout. And this, by the way, is the checkout. To complete the purchase, just shoot a fireball into the crystal. It will glow with the same color as the customer. And that's it. The first sale is done. Next, it was time to work on the dungeon. This was a whole separate chapter of development, and I approached it step by step. The goal was to make going down feel like an event. The player knows there's something valuable waiting, but also feels a sense of danger. There was a lot of experimenting, different layouts, different designs, until the version that worked best was found. It took quite some time, because the dungeon isn't just another location. It's an important part of the game loop. This is where the player finds what they are risking their life for. Artifacts that can be brought back and turned into mana. In the end, the dungeon became the second pillar of the game. The shop gives comfort and stability. The dungeon brings uncertainty and challenge. And the balance of the game is born exactly on the contrast between these two parts. I also focused on graphics. The boring prototype was removed, no need for it anymore. Now our little shop stands in a magic forest, and the entrance to the dark dungeon leads straight from the basement. A lot of work went into fog, lighting, atmosphere, and particles. The goal was to create a cozy, magical mood, but still keep everything optimized, making it look good and at the same time not killing the computer. Trust me, that was not easy. Explaining every setup detail would take too long. Seriously, how do you even explain that a bush, every 5 minutes, suddenly turned into a burst of light and blinded the player for a second? Basement, darkness, and then, bam, a flashbang. Why did it happen? No idea. Probably an anomaly.
Вот это как медом помазал.
And if you're curious, the problem turned out to be a shader bug in the material. Speaking of bugs, I actually added some, so the player won't have it too easy while collecting artifacts. They spawn in swarms and attack right away, trying to eat the character. Luckily, dealing with them isn't too hard. A fireball can roast them quickly, or just grab a broom and swat them away. I also added other, more dangerous enemies. One of them is a tall figure. When it's nearby, you can hear loud footsteps and strange static noises. It moves slowly but carefully, and it really doesn't like when someone looks at it. For a long time, I was thinking of a name for this monster. I called it Creepy, but people, they just call it the Scary Clown. And how the development went further, and what happened to the Scary Clown, you will see in the next video, if you're interested, of course. Also, you can check out the demo of the game on Steam and add it to your wishlist. That's very important, and gives me the motivation to keep going with development.